Greetings, 105.7 Abuja is Talk Nigeria. My name is Martin Tacho. Now I have two people with me in the studio. Majid Bakari, he's a senior writer with orderpaper.ng. Good morning.
Good morning.
And then of course I have Donald Ando, he's a publisher and a journalist. He wrote for This Day newspaper and he had a publication, The Accord. The Abuja Accord, if I'm right.
Yeah, National Accord.
The National Accord.
Yeah.
All right, he's here with me this morning to talk about this very question. Has the A.P.C lost steam and focus? Let's start with Ando.
I don't think so. It depends on the divide one falls into. The A.P.C, as far as I'm concerned, is a party that came with its own manifesto, and to me, I don't think the party has lost the steam. It depends on what one looks at. When the party came into office, of course, Nigerians had very high expectations of the party to turn things around very quickly, but again, it depends on the way one looks at it, because if you are not in there, you will never know the challenges a particular person or an organization is facing. But if you are there, then you will appreciate the challenge. We are dealing with human beings, and a human being is the most complicated machine one could think of. So when you are feeding in an information in a computer system, it gives you exactly the command you put in. But when you are dealing with human beings, what you expect may not be exactly as when you are feeding in a command in a computer. Even when you are commanding a computer, there's what we say: when you garbage in, it garbages out. And so, in a situation where the party came and people had very high expectations of the party and those in the political party to turn things around, I am not a member of the party, so I will say, because of the high expectations, who would, to some level, say yes, the party is losing some steam. But again, if you ask those who are within the party, they will tell you a different story.
No, the party is not losing steam.
Yeah.
Well, is sidelined. Tahiru Bafarawa sidelined, and it's in the PDP. Ali Modu Sharif, Murtala Yako, Chibisi Akande, we can't hear his voice. Yahaya Kwande, Malam Ibrahim Shekarau, Kau Baraje, the list goes on and on.
I think, in all fairness to the particular list that you just listed now, we all know, in all sense of sincerity, that at the point of formation, there were two solid blocks. One block is the current president, and the other block is actually the national leader of the party, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So those are two essentially the most important part of it. And if you recall very well, in 2011, the conversation started around 2011 as regard the formation of a sort of a coalition to stop PDP. And at the point of that, the negotiation, it was around those two individuals. And if you look at it very well, these two individuals over the past couple of years, they've consolidated their powers. Even when people they've made a lot of prophecy as to how they are going to fall apart, and they have been able to consolidate, drop baggages that were not really necessary. And if you take politics to being local, now if you talk about Sokoto State today, what kind of carriage does Bafarawa kind of hold within that state, if you want to talk about local politics, when you compare it to the likes of the likes of Wamako, and again to the current governor, Aminu Tambuwa, you'll say that politics over time is always like a living organism. It grows parts that sometimes are over the time, part of the cell we do away, and that is what exactly has happened. And now, when you now look at it between 2015 and 2019, now you see a party that is already in a transition period. And if it's not having this problem, then it's defying the general theory that we always refer to as the iron law of oligopoly, because you believe that every political party is always directed along that line. There will always be some few men and women who will be at the echelon of power making decisions, and I think that is where this current political party is right now. It's at the process of that transition, and our natural political environment has allowed it to be slipping into the normal impunity that we've always associated with political parties. Because a lot of the things that the PDP suffered from at the height of its own power, now you see gradually A.P.C is moving towards that direction, and that is where the problem is. Now, it would be easy for me, and it should be very, very unfair for you to just dump it and say, oh, the current chairman of the party is. And I think, in all fairness to the man, to Shomole, he has been able to do his part, because the most difficult part of any political party in this country are the governors. They are so powerful that to a large extent they want to do a lot of things that you can only describe as abracadabra. They want to, conduct parallel primaries. They want the state chairman to be in their pocket. And when things don't go their way,
they want the relations to succeed.
Yes. We've seen it in a couple of states, and you've seen the position of the party. It has been able to. We've seen it in Ogun State, where the governor, I saw it in one of the major dailies this morning, when he said, my people are going to go to whatever party they want to go to. They're going to run for governor. They're going to run for senate and all. But I would say in A.P.C to run for senate, and at the same time I will support the president for presidency. It doesn't make any logical sense. But the way political parties are structured in this country, which is on the basis of one thing, and that one thing is access to political office. It's not about what fundamental ideology or belief do I have. So I could wake up in the morning, be in A.P.C, in the afternoon if I don't get a ticket, be in another party, and give me some minutes before the night falls, I could be in AD or any other party that suits me. So all these socioeconomic factor actually aid A.P.C in actually moving towards that direction of impunity. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of gaining some strength in how it's being able to move, because people now get to now say, oh, if I belong to this particular state, all I just need is just give me the ticket, and every other thing, it's already over for me. Yes, falls into place. So that level of power, that level of of untouchability gives room for you to start slipping through that slippery slope. And I think that's where the party is finding itself now.
Now, these people I've mentioned, Chief Tommy, Kimi, Kao Baraje, Modu, Sharif, what's this guy's name? Bafarawa, Atahiru Bafarawa. What has made them to move out of the A.P.C without restraint? As in, they practically have political value. Now, if we say, has the A.P.C lost steam and focus, it means that the driving force inside of the A.P.C is missing.
No, I don't agree with you. Let me bring an analogy of what happened in South Africa. ANC as a party has an ideology. The party, once the president is not towing the line of the party, it is always the duty of the ANC as a party to say, hey, you are not doing the right thing. That was the reason why they had to ask Thabo Mbeki to leave the seat. The same thing happened to Jacob Zuma. So a party must have its own supremacy. It must know what it is out to achieve, and it should be able to tell individuals who are not keeping to the rules and regulations of the party to say, hey, this is not what we are out to achieve. And if you know what happened in the past, if all of us are aware of what happened in the past, the impunity that characterized the PDP, I think some of these people have their own mindset about what they want to achieve, what they want to do, and they would rather the party worship them instead of them keeping to the tenets of the party. And when you consider such a situation where the chairman of the party is saying, or the chairman of the party now says, no, this is not the way to go, you have to keep to the rules and the regulations of the party. You have to key into our manifesto instead of the party, instead of you doing whatever you want. And again, let us not lose sight of what we have been talking of, stomach infrastructure. A lot of people believed that things will not change the way they are going now. They believed that whatever they say should be taken without any challenge. But where a party now says, no, we have our own manifesto. We must keep to what we are out to achieve. The contradiction now comes in. The people will naturally walk away the way some of them have done. You see, built up to the primary elections that the party had, the party came out to say our position is going to be that we will throw our doors open. The primaries should not be only for collegiate candidates, for what you refer to as the delegates, that it should be opened to every member that has a card-carrying member of the party. And some people said, no, we will not have that. But all of us know that the collegiate system of picking a candidate for a political party, that is the easiest way to corrupt a polity. It is the easiest way, and you saw what happened. After that pronouncement by the party, some governors came out to say, no, we are not going to be party to that. And the party had to do a balancing act by saying, okay, since you have refused, for parties should come up, those who will be able to have the open primaries should come up and tell the headquarters of the party as such. For those who will not be able to, they should also let the headquarters of the party be aware that such and such and such is their challenge, and so they cannot be able to adopt the they should not be able to keep to the open primaries. And you saw what happened. That was a defining moment for some of them. Some of them decided that, okay, I have my own candidates which I want to feed. My candidate, no matter the popularity of another person, no, I will not have that person in the party. I either have my houseboy, some of my friends to fly to be in certain positions, and that was what made some of them to leave the party. There were also, you also heard of a situation where somebody was complaining that he spent so much for the party, but some of the juicy positions were not given to him to hand over to his political associates. So when you see some of these things, you will now come to the conclusion that it is more of what people are out to gain for themselves instead of the country. And as far as we continue with that kind of a trend, it will never augur well for us.
Okay, let's look at unfulfilled promises of the APC. Now, the All Progressives Congress has been flip-flopping on the pressing issue of restructuring of the polity. At first, the party informed the nation that it did not promise restructuring. Now, troubled by the claim, many informed Nigerians drew the attention of the party to its manifesto. However, the backlash that followed that declaration did not force the party to issue a retraction. Now, the then National Chairman, Chief John Odige Oyegun, caused some consternation in the polity when he claimed that he did not understand what Nigerians meant by restructuring. Yet, in the same breath, he admitted that the party promised true federalism, but that it was not a priority. Now, promising that it will soon get to the issue after addressing the collapse of the economy. On restructuring. But the restructuring advocacy was so crucial in the then candidate of the A.P.C, Muhammadu Buhari's campaign manifesto, that it was the first item on the list of promises. He stated categorically, and I quote, "My administration would initiate action to amend the Nigerian constitution with a view to devolving power and duties and responsibilities to states in order to entrench true federalism and the federal spirit." He also promised to consult and amend the constitution to enable states and local governments to create city, local government, and state policing systems. based on the resources available at each level to address the peculiar needs of each community?
Now that the conversation is getting to the real issue now, which is on the basis of campaign promises, and I think that is where we as a people need to learn, especially when we come to 2019. There is a need to start having a balance between what your promises are and what exactly are the reality in carrying out those promises. For example, if someone is telling me you're going to build a lot of things, and by the time I'm making the calculation and I'm looking at something that will cost around maybe like, let's say, a budget that will look around 10 trillion or so, the first question I'll be asking you, where are you going to get this money from? And that is I'm going to come back to the issue of restructuring as being promised by the party. And without backing Oyego, I think it's very, very smart of him when he start asking questions like, in what form, or do I understand it? Now, I've already come to a personal conclusion that the only way you can actually talk about serious restructuring is at the level of the National Assembly. Now, the last constitutional amendments that happened, some of these things that we talk about now were passed at the level of the National Assembly. The devolution of power did not scale through the House of Representatives.
It did not.
It didn't scale through. Now, local government autonomy scaled through. But what happened at the State House of Assemblies? Senator Bukola Saraki just announced this morning that only 19 passed it, and we require 24. So now, that shows you that, okay, there is a limit between what a president can do and what a government in entirety can do. And when I mean the government, I'm looking at the three arms of government, which is the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary.
But is there nothing the president can do?
Now, and that is when it comes to the position of the party. As at the time we're talking about some of these issues, the party had a required, number to a large extent to be able to have a national drive and say, okay, this is what we are talking about. And if you look at the geopolitical division of this country, if you look at the six geopolitical zone, the opposition party actually comes from the two geopolitical zone, which is the South-South and the Southeast. Now, the other box of it comes from the other region. Now, if you combine this number, you already have enough requirement to scale through your agenda. So these are things that normally should be a bipartisan move. And now if the party should now have it at the top priority and say, okay, let us drive this agenda, then achieving the 24 requirement at the level of the State House of Assemblies would have been an easy feat. So the party cannot absolve itself from the blame because it comes to leadership and priority. And in all fairness, I think what they actually prioritize, we can still have the conversation of if they pass those priorities. I think it has always been about economy, it has always been about corruption and insecurity. Now, we can have the conversation about how they feel, but I'm not really, really sure deep down that they've actually in any way actually prioritized passage of the amendment to the constitution that would lead to some of these restructuring. Recently, now the House of Representatives through the House leader Femi Gbajabiamila actually presented some amendment to the constitution on state police. We all know gradually, immediately this conversation starts on state police, the argument will now be, how are we sure that the state governors are not going to abuse this? How are we sure they're not going to deploy it at the end of the day to hunt us?
Civil servants, how can they
Yeah, so those are the places where they will easily divert the conversation to. And seriously, I know that bill is not going to go anywhere in this particular. Then we are looking at probably the next one. So if we not want to have a conversation, the conversation should now start at the level of the electorate to be able to itemize some of these things and say, okay, what and how are you going to achieve this set of things? Because the manifesto, I can't even remember what exactly is on their manifesto now. Because if you cannot tie a manifesto down to an ideology and say, okay, we are going to be a socialist party, a left party, and this is how we are going, and it to be consistent about it, and when I'll be able to monitor it. If you're going to be a conservative party on economy and things like that, when you're doing it, I'll be able to monitor it. But when you have like a jamboree of things, a lot of things that you yes, and at the end of the day, by the time you want to separate the shaft from the written. He just said that it's a complete mess, and that is where. And I'm not really sure we're going to have a serious conversation about it before 2019 election, probably after the 2019 election.
Donald Ando.
Yeah.
Is it now impossible to restructure Nigeria considering the fact that it has to go through the National Assembly that might not be concurrent?
Just as he said, I think it will be easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for us to swallow hook and sinker that restructuring we're talking of we say through in the National Assembly. You see, presently, we are talking of so many things about the restructuring. The party...
So it means we as a free people cannot restructure ourselves. It's possible only the military can.
I think so. I agree with you. I think your thinking, I think, is same with mine. You see, we are living in a country where we as a people, we don't have a good orientation of individuals when it comes to conducting themselves properly in the public. Go out and see the way we drive on our roads. You don't need you don't need security agencies, maybe the road safety officials or whatever, to be at every kilometer to monitor the way you drive on the highway. But look at the way we drive. It also comes to the same, and it goes to say, therefore, that if we are not disciplined in what we do, is it possible for us to sit together and talk with one voice? Look at, we had the other constitutional conference under Abacha. Then there was one that was organized by President Jonathan, former President Jonathan. What became of that? Nothing came out of it.
Documents were supposed to go to the National Assembly for ratification or consideration.
He just said here.
Documents will not get through.
Yeah, he just said it here.
Here.
The state assembly, the state assemblies were supposed to be on a first line charge. They threw out that particular one as due to the influence of the governors. And
no, they actually passed that one. It's the local government autonomy that they rejected.
That was the first time they rejected the first time. Now you will discover that we are a people that are not willing, ready to move this country the way and direction it should be going. So we come on the table with individual idiosyncrasies, thinking more of the benefit we derive as a people, as an individual, more than what every other person that is in Nigeria would gain.
All right, our numbers have not changed. You can now contribute to the conversation. Majid Bakare and Donald Ando, both of them journalists, are here talking about the steam and lack of focus of the A.P.C. as a party and as a government. Our numbers are 070-1057-0088 and then 070-1057-0909. Those are the numbers you can call and contribute to what you feel it is or what it is. Now, 070-1057-0025 is a number you can send us a message, a text or WhatsApp. Yeah, you feel free to send those messages. And I already have messages coming in, and they say, good morning, Mr. Martin. 2019, the fact, plans, programs, objectives, activities, goals, and target, the brain thinking techniques, join the moving train. Madaki from Kujesa Damis, I don't know what that means. Mr. Martin, you have been unable to read some of our text messages of late. You prefer receiving calls to reading messages. It's difficult to get through via your phone lines. Though I do not understand why Ola and some pro-PDP guys always get into the studio via the calls. Who sent this? Let's see his name. Noja Emmanuel sent that message. Please try harder, you'll get our phones. The drafting to Borno of service chiefs is not what Nigerians want. No. And PENCOM is sending pensioners to their early graves because of the delayed payment. You see, the messages are not consistent with what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the lost focus on steam of the A.P.C. and so many reasons have been adduced here why many people see it as if they have lost focus. First, failed promises. Second, defections. Those are the main things that have pushed people to think. And then, talking about the president's seeming inactivity, it takes him a long time to react to issues. Sometimes he doesn't react at all. What kind of president do we need? We need a firebrand president.
Wait, I think on the political party, there are two pronouncements that the president have actually made on the political party that, to a large extent, kind of goes in line with me. It was when the issue of a convention on having new executives was in place, when the whole elongation, the president made a pronouncement and said, no, we are not going to be scared of, because there are going to be issues, then we should not go against our own laws. That one was a fair one. There was another one when the A.P.C was sending some sort of a riot at and said, you should not go to court because you have issue with the party that we should. And the president made a pronouncement. Yeah, allow them to go to court.
Okay, hold on. Hello, Prince Hugo. Morning. Yeah, go ahead. I don't know why. Yeah. All right, thank you very much, Prince Ugo. Yeah, Oji, it's obvious that politicians are incapable of charting a new direction for Nigeria.
As far as restructuring is concerned, let us not kid ourselves here. No political party actually has that political will. When I talk about
political
party,
will, what does that mean?
The ability to actually see it as a priority for them.
See, all 19 states endorsed the
yes, and that is where I'm talking about. Now, the governors on their own part will look at it and said, "Oh, I'm not going to give up this money. I'm not going to give up the money that comes into the joint allocation, into the joint account for myself and the local government. They want it to stay that way." The other time I was having a conversation with a friend, that we now realize that I'm not even sure Aregbesola, for his 2 term in office, actually conducted any local government election. And a lot of governors are running on this. When you start having an election in local
hold on. Nathaniel from Central Area. Yeah, morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, all right, thank you very much, Nathaniel from Central Area. Yeah, you were making a point, Majid.
But yes, it's about the composition and the will on the part of the people who are running it. And if you get it down, now, the major problem restructuring is always having is that most of the time we just cut it down to just one issue, which is resource control. And immediately resource control comes at the major issue that you're discussing about it. The conversation turned to a north versus south kind of argument.
Okay.
And you start seeing a lot of slandering and say some people are lazy are taking our resources.
Some
The
people
other
are
one will,
parasitic.
yes. Immediately you get it down there, and for you to have a constitutional amendment, you're looking about two-thirds of the majority of the entire house. Now you're looking at in case of the House of Representatives, 360 members. Then you're looking at their two-thirds. You're looking at the same thing to end the Senate. Now, and I think it all boils down to how those conversations are going on. And if you recall very well, during the whole confab report, the A.P.C. as a party dissociated itself from that conference.
Mm.
And
They were not part of that
the truth
conference.
is that some of the recommendation of the particular conference, I'm not really down on it to a large extent. Number one is that you have issue of state creation that's going to states to already about 50. And you already have some of these states are not even economically viable to be state on its own. And that is why we go there to why a lot of governors will be in Abuja waiting for the monthly handouts. And that is what brought us to that stage. And that is what some of the recommendations. So there are a lot of contradiction within that recommendation. Are we going along the line of making state viable, or we just want to have a compromise? A compromise that will just allow more men to just have access to become governor and become more senators and to just live fat. And that is how that conference has not been able to actually resolve it. And I think it's all boils down to every individual listening to me right now to be able to go and listen. Let us pay little attention again to issue of presidency and governor. Let us focus on who becomes our representative and who become a senator, so that we'll not have bad wagon effect of say Baba or say Atiku. You just allow them to just move in there, and by the time you just get to start asking the conversation and say, look, let us drop the whole case of 11.5 million, 13.5 million constituency allowance. Listen to your representative. What exactly are you going to go and do in Abuja, and how does it affect me and some of the national issues that we are having? Because in all fairness, majority of the representatives don't even understand exactly what we are talking about, in all fairness to a lot of them. So and we cannot have any form of, because it's not a country. I'm not even sure we have provisions for referendum on issues. So before we can actually talk about amendment to the constitution, you must know the kind of people who are going to have this conversation on your behalf, and you need to get involved. And I think that's the only way.
All right, here's a WhatsApp message that just came, but then I think there's a call that I'm seeing the signals here. All right, Ola from Central Area, my regular caller. A very, very good one. Yeah.
Good morning.
Mm. Okay. All right, your time is up. Yeah, I have a message here. Great Martin and guest. The question is that if the APC as a party has lost the steam. For me, the answer is not in the sense that the party. He said, for me, the answer is no. In the sense that the party is still on its feet. However, the only problem in the party is that some of the working tools in the party are fishing for their personal interest. Hence, they have become a cog in the wheels of progress. Example is some of the formidable founding fathers who gave the best of their dreams and resources in building the party from the beginning level to a strong party have been sidelined, leaving some visionless people who have now hijacked the party for a reason best known to them. Also, this group of few are the ones misleading Mr. President in most cases towards taking decisions that will be of national interest. If good focal ideas will be given a place in the APC, then the party is a place to be. John Samotogwearo from Masaka sent that message. Emmanuel from Maraba, good morning. Yeah, morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Manuel. Some messages are here. This one says, good morning, presenter in the studio. Restructuring is a language of lack of political will to the laziness of politicians in the two chambers. Lack of truthfulness amongst all and sundry in this country. In summary, when you are not in power, the sight of what needed to be done will be visionary to you, because that evil cobweb has let you as a person. Otherwise, why would have hold on to a dogged man in all fairness to desist from the original notion that brought him into power. It is rather unfortunate, Comrade Isabo. I don't know if you make sense of that. John from Kurudu is on the line for us. Hello. Morning, John. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. All right. Thank you very much. I don't know if you guys know what he's trying to say, but that's the last call I'm taking. Is 9:51. Funny how time flies.
Yes.
Let's round up our conclusions. Has the APC lost steam and focus? Your answer, Donald Ando, emphatic answer.
No,
It has not.
it has not. The party until
Okay, let me pardon this guy and just speak it. Maybe he's been trying for a long time. Omale from Maitama. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning,
You-
sir.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, conclude, Majid.
I won't tell you emphatic no or emphatic yes. I'm just like
You're standing on the fence.
No, the party is coming to terms with realities of governance, and that is where the party is. Probably it might need at one point or the other to redefine itself and make a particular position that will be within the confines of reality and confines of objectivity that it can achieve. I think that is where we should be, and we should, as people, learn from it and say, okay, this particular election every issue, must be discussed and must be well scrutinized, so that at the end of the day, we will not have this kind of euphoria, and before you know it, you start saying, oh, this is not what you told us, this is not what it is. In 2008, Obama promised a lot of things like close down of the Guantanamo Bay, stopping the war in Afghanistan and the rest. And I can tell you authoritatively that it did not achieve some of these things. But when you have a party or a presidency making promises, you must be able to assess it and be able what level of effort did you put in achieving it. And I think that is where we'll be able to judge him right and say, okay, between a scale of 100 to 1, where exactly do you fall? So anything below 50, that is a failure, and anything above it should be a credit.
I can only say the party is is laying a foundation for us to live realistic lives.
The party, the A.P.C, is laying a foundation for us to live realistic lives.
Yes.
All right, that's the takeaway for today. My name is Martin. Catch up with me from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning on this station.